Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for coming today. I know most of you have missed your afternoon siesta. I have. My wife thought it was very strange, but yeah, these are all strange people who do different things. Welcome on behalf of all the panelists, especially Desmond, who's taken a lot of trouble to get us all together. We've come to discuss the indigenous liquors of India. India is changing, and at one point or the other, anywhere in the world, every spirit, every brew was native. But we look at it differently today in India. We look at we have in the excise and the way people talk, we in different departments and even colloquially, we have the premium spirits which are considered the whiskies and the vodkas, and then you have the beers, and then you have indigenous spirits like a Feni or a Mahua, or from Assam we've got Judima as well. But these are, at one point of time, every spirit was native, and these spirits were regional, they were communal, they were domestic and very indigenous, and they belonged to each culture. And all cultures had their own versions, and it really depended on what material they had. In Goa we had cashews, in Brazil they had sugarcane, in Central India we had mahua flowers. And it wasn't, and what happens when we look at spirits and brews around the world, we tend to think that it's only made of rice or it's grain. And I think what we're trying to show today that India's culture and the diversity that we have use not just exotic fruits like cashew or coconut toddy that's available all over the coast, but we've even used flowers, which not many people have seen in Goa or India or much less the rest of the world. We won't be taking too much of time on the introductions, but we've got a very interesting panel, very distinguished panel. Each one is an expert in their own right. We've got an old friend. For me, is Anirudh Mukherjee. I was a young boy when I first met him. I mean, I was younger, and he emailed me once out of the blue, and he asked me some very interesting questions, and this on a public forum, and I emailed him, and that's where we started off. So a little about Anirudh. Anirudh, growing up in food and drink obsessed environment, Anirudh, also known as Jampan, his interests were primarily in indigenous alcohols developed during the years, and as a journalist he travelled all over the northeast and south of India, central India and everywhere. He has been tasting brews, collecting spirits, and sometimes working hands-on with communities to learn their art over the last 2 decades. He has travelled extensively to the interiors of central India, the northeast and the south to sample and understand the history, socio-economics and the cultural practices related to the brews and spirits from flowers, grains, palm sap and fruits. His book, Searching for Soma, A Quest for the Indian Spirit, has been commissioned by HarperCollins. I like this part. He says, when sober, he researches wildlife trade as a consultant to the Oxford University and as a senior advisor to Wildlife Trust of India. He's also studied economics and filmmaking. So, in short, he's actually a great storyteller. but you know what? When I first met him, he asked very interesting questions, and that's where he comes from. He asks interesting questions, and he has a lot of insight. So hopefully, after this, we can actually have discussion. He's got a very, very interest in indigenous liquors all over India. So I'll pass you on to Anirudh Mukherjee.
Maybe I can speak from there because this probably would work better than
that's right.
I'd actually asked Desmond to give me half a day, but he said 15 minutes, so you know what's going to happen now. So, this what you see is a very interesting thing in a small village in the Dima Hasao district of Assam. These are actually beer vats, which go back at least 200 years before cashew started in Goa. So these were made by the kings used to ceremonially make beer, and it used to be made from rice. So there's just a small little vignette. if we really look at the alcohol map of India, almost till central India, we are really talking toddy. I'll come to how many kinds of toddy later, but toddy is huge, and toddy is not just one palm. There are 4 or 5 species of palms which produce toddy. As we go up towards the center, you can see this purple kind of space. It's totally Moa. We're talking 14 or 15 states, equal amount like from toddy. The green stretch is completely grain alcohol. It could be brews, it could be spirits. Northeast again, the yellow part, the Assam and the 5 states. You have probably a diversity of at least 60 to 70, if not more, kinds of spirits and brews made out of rice. And some of them are actually much better than the Japanese sake, or you have to taste them to know how great they are. Goa, down there is 2 kinds of feni, as you know, and I'll not go too much into detail there. The blue Rajasthan has some very distinctive alcohols, like spirits again, Kesar Kasturi, Narangi. These are again not very widespread, but would be made for the royalty. They would have their own special families who would brew and distill for them. So let's go ahead and look at from actually not 4, really 5 species. I'll come to the details later. It's nectar, sap based. It's has a fairly low alcohol. It's supposed to be quite healthy actually. If you drink a glass or 2 every day, it gives you a lot of B vitamin. B complexes. It's quite rich in B complexes. It's a highly skilled industry. The people who do it have to go through a long apprenticeship. One of the most organized setups in Kerala. Kerala probably, it's probably only 2 crores the money that's generated from this business in Kerala. There is toddy, probably, if we look at the southern states, has the highest potential of development as far as local alcohols go. You can bottle it, you can preserve it, you can actually export it. Sri Lanka does it very well. So I'll go to the details. First one is a date palm. It's not so much this side. It would be from central India upwards. And the 2 species of dates, this is the sort of way they, tap it. The only difference here is that most of the other toddies come from the flower of the plant. It comes from the inflorescence. Only in the date do you shave the tender parts of the trunk right next to the crown of the tree. And that's the way they harvest it, and that's the way we would drink it. Pargula or Boresus palm, which is much taller, is very sweet. The sort of toddy that comes out of it has high sugar content. It's very good for distillation and very nice. Arak comes of it, but not much of it is made because of the laws. These are the sort of next is the fishtail palm. You know the fishtail palm, you must have seen it, you must have driven past it many times. Goa, they used to tap fishtail palm, at least 20 years ago, there were people tapping fishtail. Fishtail, compared to say the other palms, might give you 5, 6 liters, 7 liters per day. The fishtail palm will give you at least 30 to 40 liters of sap, and is one of the toddies that is used to mix or give bulk to other toddies. Since this palm is widespread, it starts from Tamil Nadu, goes up all the way nearly to Rajasthan. It's found in the northeast as well. You don't notice it, but it's there. These are sort of the way they tap it. See, it's coming from the inflorescence. That is the difference. In all the ones, the flower bud is cut and you get the heights are like almost 20 meters to 30 meters. Very, very dangerous job. Coconut is the most popular. I don't need to get into too much detail here. That's the way it is. The basic toddy that comes down from the tree looks a bit like this. In Kerala, it's an organized business. People wait at road corners when they've collected it. A jeep comes. That's the on the smaller level. They are organized farms in the Palakkad district, where there are acres and acres and acres of. They even harvest toddy like this. They tie the trees together and they walk across, doing 5 or 6 trees and save them, the trouble of going up and down. So the toddy is collected early in the morning. Still frothing, as you can see. It's loaded into. It's tested by somebody. It's then loaded. It's measured in these milk measures, loaded into trucks, like tankers. They're actually tankers moving across the state. Then the jeeps kind of, speed past. You can see they've stopped for an excise check. And there's this guy tasting a spoon of toddy from every drum. By the time he finishes, he can't walk straight. So it then reaches shops like this, and it's filled into bottles. And the first guy is waiting at 8:30 in the morning to have a drink. Nice life. So these are sort of tools of the trade. You might recognize this man. He's from Goa. He's no longer in the business. Santa, I think, no? Santa. This is also from Goa again. So these are the kind of, differences in the knives that they use. This bone in Kerala is used for tapping. You actually have to tap the bud, the flowered bud, to make it, flower. It's a dangerous business. At least 10 people die falling off a tree. They're paralyzed. Sorry? Yeah. I hope not every day. This is the Tamil Toddy Tappers Union protesting that against the ban on toddy in Kerala and in Tamil Nadu and Andhra. They were saying that if Sri Lanka, Philippines can do these sort of products, why can't we? So this definitely has a very high potential. I don't need to really go into Fairy so much. I only wanted to point out to you that it is the youngest alcohol in India, cashew Fairy. The others are far older. It is the only one which has a GI as of today. Oops. These are some of the old. I'm not going to really. So the GI is owned by the Cashew Fairy Manufacturers and Bottlers Association and the government. It's interesting in the way that the GI has been done. Palm Fairy is a much older Fairy. Palm Fairy probably predates Cashew Fairy by hundreds of years. And that was probably the basis on which Cashew Fairy was made. But the GI has completely ignored that to an extent that Palm Fairy cannot even call itself Fairy. It is today illegal to bottle a Fairy, a Palm Fairy with Fairy written on it. If somebody complains, this would be found to be illegal, but thankfully nobody does because there's some amount of camaraderie here. Palm is dying purely because there are no tappers in Goa. And I keep telling people, if there is a shortage of tappers, why don't you get them from Tamil Nadu? Because there's a surplus of tappers there. What's the problem? For your construction, you can get people from Jharkhand, you can get your plumbers from Orissa, you can get so many specialized workers from so many parts of the country. You will have people coming here from Bangladesh. So why not a poor tapper from Tamil Nadu? That will give this. They are all out of the business. They are all shut down now. This is Vita, who's no longer making distilling toddy. More, 14 to 15 states. This is what a tree in fresh leaf looks like. The flowers come somewhere around February end till about April. Arguably the oldest spirit in the world. My research shows that this probably goes back to maybe 150 BC or BCE, as they say today. I mean, there are clear records of distillation that was happening then in Takshashila, where largest geographical footprint, very localized. Each village they would be making some, but it would not even cross 2 or 3 kilometer radius. This is a mova flower. See how this lady is collecting. This is how it falls. It falls in the night between 4 in the morning till about 8. And villages after villages, millions of people in central India are involved in this. In months of say March, April. They collect it. Then it's dried. Then it goes to markets. This is ready cash. You take dried momo to the market, you will get 25 to 35 to 45 rupees a kilo, depending on how the harvest has been that year. Ready cash, the man will give you cash on the spot. So it's very lucrative. Per tree, you have say 5 trees in your control. Each tree will give you about 2,000 rupees worth of mowa. So it's like 10,000 rupees of cash, and in that economy, a lot of money. Dealers. It gets collected, it moves to places like Raipur and Bilaspur in Chhattisgarh, where there are warehouses which have a size of 8 lakh tons, 10 lakh tons, and it stays there in cold storages till November. Then it starts going back exactly to the same place where it came from. The guy sold it for 25 to 30 rupees, now he'll buy it back at 40 to 45 rupees just to make booze. Every house is making booze, and this is a sort of fermentation process. This is the starter. Starters vary from place to place. These are sort of stills, very, very basic stills, but the stills haven't changed from whenever. I mean, if the stills were there like this 2,000 years ago, they were probably still kept the same stills. There are 2 or 3 kinds of stills. I'll not go into so much detail. I'll just show you pictures. See, it's ingenious the way she's doing it. It's going to be vapors going down into that lota, and that is there's water pouring in over there. It's condensing and going straight into the bottle. These are large-scale, illegal roach makers right inside the forest. They're deep inside the forest, and that's how they sort of, this is how they, carry it. This goes on cycles. These are tire tubes, carcinogenic, but that's the way it is. India is again largely Orissa, parts of West Bengal, Bihar, Jharkhand, maybe some parts of Chhattisgarh, but largely the Santal tribes make this hadia. It's boiled, the rice is boiled, you put in these starters with some herbs, it's fermented, that's what you get, and that's what you drink. No, of course not. Northeastern Brews and Spirits, I think that's another place which has a brilliant future. The kind of variety that they have, the kind of evolution that they've gone through. Their spirits are highly evolved, they're sophisticated, they're good on the palate, they're brews, they have distillation as well, but distillation has been really more recent. Distillation, I believe, came more from Nepal and that side. And there's also a belief that in the Northeast they don't have the alcohol gene, so they can't digest very, strong spirits. Now, I'm not very convinced with that because the amount I've seen people drinking, they must be digesting it. So some of the very distinct northeastern brews are appam. Actually, this word "on," which is added to appam or apo, is really a colonial addition. It's actually apo. They make dark, clear, white beers. They also distill it. There is Sujan, Judima, which our friend Uttam will talk about. So each of these are brewed first, and when the brew comes out, if they want to distill a spirit out of it, they do that. So it's a fairly simple process. So here they're boiling the rice, cooling it, and then they're mixing the rice with husk of charcoal husk, the same rice husk, and that is a thing which sort of filters it and also gives it a color and a flavor. It's then they put in these yeast cakes or yeast biscuits as they're called. They crush it and rub it into the rice, and then it's packed into these yam leaf packets and it ferments. It depends on the temperature. In colder weather, it can go on to 14 to 15 days. In warmer temperatures, it will be like 5 days to 6 days. And then somebody tastes it to see whether it's right or not. They don't have a meter to sort of put in and taste. She puts a finger in and it's on the tongue and she knows. And then on ceremonial occasions, that's the kind of size in which that's the funnel in which all these packets would go in, open packets, and the beer will drip into these containers below. So this is for a feast. And this is what the ultimate product looks like. I mean, there are variations of this. There are probably 100 variations of this beer. Amazing stuff. You have to taste it. Then the same thing is distilled. This lady was my guru. She taught me how to, distill this kind of stuff. I spent a lot of time with her learning. We couldn't communicate, but she just knew, This is in a Arunachali village called Goldo. So you can see this is a communal activity. The whole family then finally gets together and they chat, they eat, and there's a warm spirit coming out which they drink. So I think there is a lot of future in the indigenous spirit, and I found something very funny hanging in outside the hut in Kerala, and that's what I thought would be an apt thing to end the story with. Thank you.
Quite an adventure that was, and it's actually quite interesting when you spend more time with with Anil. He actually gets kinder and he starts giving you to taste these things. So it's quite nice. The next person we have is Desmond Nazareth. I think everyone knows him. I recognized him from the bottle actually when I first saw him. So Desmond Nazareth is the principal founder of and MD of Agave India, a company that was set up in 2007. Agave India is India's first and only rurally based greenfield, small batch, field to bottle, forest to bottle craft distillery using Indian know-how and raw materials. Desmond has been instrumental in formulating the 2018 pot still based alcohol manufacturing standards in India. Agave India makes internationally quality spirits, Indian spirits, agave spirits, Indian sugarcane spirits and mahua spirits, as well as an orange and mahua liqueur. Their products are sold under the master brand name Desmond G or DJ, and some being exported to the States and Europe. The most recent products are DJ Mahua and DJ Mahua Liqueur, which were released in Goa in June 2018. Desmond is a successful serial entrepreneur with international work and travel experience in a variety of fields. He has been educated in pure and applied sciences, computer science and multimedia. He grew up in India, studied and worked for 17 years in the US before moving back to India in 2000 and is currently based in Goa. So Desmond will frame the discussion by speaking about the different types of alcohol, types of distillation, India's official pot still standards, attributes of regional and national heritage alcohols, categorizations of alcohols in India, and a proposal for a heritage category, Mahua as a potential national spirit, and the benefits to the community and the tribals involved. Desmond will first have a small short video and before we go on. I forgot to mention earlier, if anybody's phones by mistakenly are turned on, please put them on silent, not to disturb the people here. Yeah. Thank you. Over to Desmond.
I'm glad you had a chance to look at what we have done craft distillery-wise, but I'm sure that there are going to be many more configurations going forward if this whole heritage spirit movement, so to speak, takes off. Can everybody hear me? Yes. Okay. So now I'll get to my main presentation where I give you a background of what happens with alcohol in India and then lead up to my thesis. The topic is heritage liquors, but issues and possibilities. So I represent the issue part and the possibility part. There are other people who speak about issues and maybe some others with possibilities and people. So the first point I want to make is to explain something very basic about alcohol because it's coming up in a number of presentations. Fermentation versus distillation. Any distilled product has to be fermented first. So not all fermented products turn into distilled products, and there are some distilled products that are not drunk as fermented products. To ferment an alcohol, you just need some substrate which has sugars and yeast. That's about it. So beer, wine, toddy, etc. are fermented alcohols. You just start with some substrate like grape or palm juice and so on, and then ferment it, and then clarify it and sell it. Distilled alcohols are first fermented and then multiply distilled. Could be more than once, but typically twice or thrice. There are two kinds of distillation. One is the pot still distillation, which is the basis of all the heritage liquors that we know of, because that's the ancient way of doing business. in the distillation. Column stills are very, very recent. They are actually can be looked at as a series of pot stills, one on top of the other. Could be 50, 20, 100 of them to clarify the alcohol. I'll just show you some pictures of those. So column stills are used mainly to produce something called ENA, which is the basis of the Indian industry, IMFL industry, where they take the ENA, which is pure alcohol water, and then add flavors like rum and whiskey and so on. That's why all of these are fairly cheap in India. So here are some pictures of pot stills on the left. At the bottom is this picture I've stolen from Japan, inadvertently. It's a village still of the kind that you saw before. And on top is a modern still, typically made of copper or stainless steel. It's a big pot and it's heated either externally or internally. In our case, we use internal steam heating. And the vapors go up and collected in the condenser, and then you put it through another distillation in a third perhaps. Column stills are on the right. As you can see, there's a long, tall column, and there are plates in the column, and the liquor distills and condenses to the next plate, redistills and so on. So it's like a bunch of pot stills, one on top of the other. Those are used in industry in India to produce what is known as extra neutral alcohol or rectified spirit. Now, the standards for alcohol beverages in India were recently notified by FSSAI, and in the course of notifying them, I noticed that they did not have anything for pot still distillation, which is the universal way of getting what are known as bouquet spirits, where the bouquet comes from the natural fermenting substrate. So I ended up working with these folks and wrote pot still standards that got officially notified, but opened up the category to making all kinds of distilled spirits in pot stills, not just with agave and sugarcane juice and mahua that I'm interested in, but pretty much everything else. So this is a huge breakthrough for anybody who's looking at doing heritage kinds of alcohols, distilled ones. The current categorization of alcohol in India, it breaks down into three components. Imported, which typically tend to be pot still based, rums and scotches and so on, tequilas from abroad, and you either get them bottled in origin, the bottling is done in the country, or it's done in India. That's one category. That's the highest price category and the costliest to the local person. Next comes IML or IMFL, which is Indian made liquor, Indian made foreign liquor. It's a strange category. That's a catch-all category for everything that is not imported and not country. Country is the category that is kind of a Wild West category. Theoretically, it's there. There are some kinds of rules. There are some tax pays. But most of what goes and sells and is consumed as country liquor in this country is outside of the tax base, even though it's very low, because it's just not affordable, and it's done on a very small scale, and it's done for a local community. So, Indian made, if you're not a country liquor and you're not imported, you have to be IML or IMFL. That's the current categorization. So we, by letting mahua escape from the country category, have got an IML version of mahua for the first time. So what I'm suggesting is that the costs come down, the taxes come down, everything down to country liquor from the imported category, that we create a new category called Indian Heritage Alcohol, which is both regional and national. And if all states adopt this, we can encourage people to develop high-quality regional heritage alcohols or national heritage alcohol, whether it's fermented or distilled, because it's a lower tax category, but it still is governed by quality regulations. And this can lead to a national resurgence of a great variety of possibilities, whether it's brews, just fermented, or distilled in India. It's a possibility. One has to see whether the excise and revenue people go for it, but I think the national debate has started. So now I want to talk briefly about the characteristics and attributes of regional versus national heritage alcohol. So all the attributes necessary for both categories are something that is related to the place and the climate, and that is unique to that regional geographic area. and raw material available in sufficient quantities. And it's capable of acquiring a GI. That's not required, but it's an attribute. Feni acquired a GI because historically and culturally it's related to Goa. Cashew spirits also made outside of Goa, I understand. Centuries old cultural heritage, tradition, history would be very helpful. Production at internationally recognized quality levels, regulated. Professionally packaged, branded, labeled products so that people can trust what they're getting and know who to catch if something goes wrong. And something that's good for travel retail, for tourism purposes, export. All these characteristics would be good for a regional heritage spirit to have in India. In addition though, for a national heritage spirit, I think it could be either a distilled or fermented product. It should represent the country as a whole. Now with a diverse country like India with the hundreds of thousands of variants, one will have to choose, and the basis of choosing probably will have to be which one is done the most, which one has all these characteristics and rules, some kind of a weightage will have to be done. And it should be also culturally significant. It can't be something we just started making yesterday, because then people won't trust it, because they won't think of it as deeply rooted in the Indian culture. They won't think of it as an Indian spirit. So it should have a widespread cultural and production, consumption footprint. And in order for these categories to grow, India as a whole, all states should recognize each other's heritage spirits and brews, and then we can start looking outside of India. So these are my attribute lists. For the case of Maua, everything that I've listed in the previous page that's green, there's no issue at all. Right now it is not produced at internationally recognized, locally defined and regulated quality levels. When you're looking at the mass production that happens in tribal areas, it's not professionally packed or branded or labeled, and people don't know whether to trust a bottle of Maua they get, that somebody gets to them, because they don't know the source, they don't know who to catch if something goes wrong. So that's where we come in, and what we've done is convinced authorities, and Mr. Menino is here. I'll introduce him briefly later, and he'll speak a few words about the role he played when he was Excise Commissioner in helping Feni to get to a heritage spirit level, as well as get its GI, work with the Feni group here. And also, I was able to convince him that Maua was something that Goa could be the first state to recognize as an IMFL, which allowed us to sell it here, not make it. What are the potential benefits of Maua? Now Maua, so I am promoting Maua as the national spirit for all the reasons I gave before. It's the biggest, the most likely candidate in my opinion, that will get support from lots of people in India because of these tens of millions of people for whom it's so important. We have some folks from the tribal parts of eastern Maharashtra here who were just telling me earlier today the role it plays in their culture. And maybe they will speak later on in the Q&A session or discussion session. So what benefits do I see? Potential economic and cultural benefits, better price levels for hygienically collected, sun-dried and stored Maua. You saw the pictures that Anirudh was showing earlier. If it's done hygienically, it's a fantastic food product. There are opportunities to sell it to urban areas and even export it because it's a taste. The sun-dried Maua flour, some samples of which we will have later during the tasting, taste like a mixture of a dried fig, date, and a raisin. It's an extraordinary taste. And I believe there's a huge potential market for it, just as a food, or as you can make ice creams out of it, or do any number of things. Rich in sugar, puddings. Sorry. Maua-based. The other big advantage is that the enlarged markets will result in a quantum leap. As these gentlemen were telling me earlier today, they were so proud to see a bottle of Maua, which is so important to them, sitting on a shelf in an alcohol store with the proper label and everything. It was a point of pride. So it moves from the shameful thing done, in the darkness to a point of pride. And that's, I think, a huge value. Mawa tourism in the central belt of India. The Mawa season is a month long, roughly, in any particular area, and one could consider Mawa festivals where people go to collect the flowers and see them being distilled and actually collect high quality Mawa made by tribal entrepreneurs in those areas. Year-round Mawa distillery tours. Because the sun-dried Mawa can be used if properly stored through the year. It's not unlike cashew. It is a year-round phenomenon. And then there's any amount of art and culture that arises out of the tribal belts, wherein these could be tourism centers where that gets sold. And some of it is, of course, Mawa related. So I see quite a few benefits coming out of this, because there are people who are worried that tribal folks are having their knowledge appropriated and perhaps they are being exploited. Whereas I see tribal people potentially rising up, because in today's world anybody can do this. This is not rocket science, and they can probably do a better job than all of us sophisticated distillers, making regional variants, but keeping in mind quality and market issues. So I just want to end now with a brief run-through of what we have done. So strategically, we started with these national spirits called agave spirits, tequila being the national spirit of Mexico, one of them, and cane spirit, which is in the same family as cachaça, national spirit of Brazil. And we made them to international levels and are now exporting it to Europe and the US. So over the years, I've been trying to convince people, authorities in India, that if we can do their national spirits, why can't we do something here? And Mawa was my chosen, let's say, substrate to make a national spirit out of India. It took 5 years to get all the permissions, but here we are on the cusp. So, make in India is a big deal now. We are the ones doing it. Even so, we get no support or very little support from authorities at the central and state levels. They don't seem to give a damn. Proudly made in India, made with local ingredients, all of that. So we're trying to change that mindset slowly. We make products with the agave, we make it with sugarcane, Nagpur oranges, and now Mawa. So this is the kind of branding we have built. International quality products in designer bottles, authentic and powerful founder story, and it's a rare combination in the alcohol world. So I've taken my brand, which I built up, which our team has built up over the years, and I'm using it to now say, if we could do all that stuff and we are already exporting, what can't we do with Mawa? So that people are trusting our Mawa brands implicitly. So it's leapfrogging instead of starting the hard way. So those are the bottles. You'll get to see them and taste them outside at 7:30 onwards. So we are hoping that this becomes the national spirit. At least I'm making a push. Thank you.
Thank you, Desmond. Thank you, Desmond.
Later.
Told us a little about flower power. We have Mr. Vineen with us. He was the Commissioner of Excise and instrumental in helping the Peony Association get health and spiritual for Goa. He's also the present Director of Goa Tourism, GDDC, and he was again very instrumental in, as Mr. Bhakta once described it, we call him a Peony Mogi, means he really loves Peony, and I like that term. He was instrumental in understanding our need for having a Peony festival in Goa. I understand Mr. Vineen has to leave for another appointment, but I would just like him to come and just speak a little before he goes, because he's a very important man and he made things change. A lot of bureaucrats, they usually listen to us, but he was actually a man who listened and made change happen. Mr. Vineen would really like to have you to speak this time.
Very green
But anyways, I thank Desmond for giving me this opportunity to say a few words about my role as an excise commissioner. Currently, as the director of tourism, I was fortunate to be posted as an excise commissioner, so that there was this feeling in me where probably we have grown up with Feni during our younger days when we used to play at the foothills, and after the game the war, we used to go to this distillation where we used to have this Feni distillation, and I hope people also would speak about this Nira, what we call. Because that was something which used to attract us. Once they have finished their job, then we used to take over, and we used to get one of the purest Nira, because that was the last form. So those days, and with all that nostalgia with me, and as an excise commissioner, I said definitely something has to be done for Feni. When I have taken over as excise commissioner, I have seen that one good thing had happened to Feni. That is, Feni has got a GI, which is a very big achievement. Probably I think Feni is the only GI liquor in India. So with this, actually a lot of things should have been done. Unfortunately, for 10 years, I think just we had a GI, and only a few people like I've seen, like Gurudatta with his brand, and Silvas, Regan Hendricks, Andankar and Macwa. I think these are the few people who had maintained the standard of Feni. The rest was actually capitalizing on their name, and then, in fact, they were bringing a bad name to Feni. I've seen in the market, you had Feni with 10 years maturity and all those things. But if you taste that Feni, person would never come back to drink Feni. So this was the state of affairs. The first thing what we did is that we checked, we saw that such type of spurious liquor and all should not be in the market. So I stopped labeling this Feni, which was 10 years, 5 years, unless they had a mechanism in place to ensure that it was 5 years Feni. So with that, second part was that we got government to constitute a committee that is for the development of Feni, and we got all these experts in this committee. After that, we had this stakeholders meeting. We got all the people who are actually connected with Feni together, and it was sort of a brainstorming session. We got a lot of ideas which came in, and then a report has been submitted to the government. A few things I would like to mention that what they have suggested in this. One thing is, first thing is that we actually should standardize Feni. Whatever is there available now, there are no standards. We just label them as and when they come. So this was one issue. Second thing is, we had to, this GI which is there, now actually when you have GI, you have to capitalize on it, you have to label, you have to actually have a logo or somebody to certify it. So this thing had to be put in place. So we set a good lab, for testing this wine and standardizing it. Third thing is that if Feni has to be promoted, it has to have a standard, and it has to go all the world over. So whenever we have all these exhibitions, whenever we have all this trade fair, we see that Feni has been promoted. And for myself, when I attend all this trade fairs and all abroad, when we show a good bottle of Feni, there are people who appreciate it, the potency of Feni, the fruitiness, So that is, we are not aware of such things. People who are connoisseurs and all of this, they very much, they look into all these things. The important part was that what we did is during my tenure, say 5 years I was there as a commissioner. Luckily I was there for some time, because normally what happens is if you are moved out, then whatever good things you could do, you can't carry forward. So we got the government to convince all the members who were there to see that Goa's Feni is declared as a heritage state of Goa. So I think in 2016 that was another greatest achievement which we managed to have. So at the moment Goa has a tag of heritage state of Goa, but the standards which had to come with it is still lagging behind. So as Desmond has said, he was the one who was making noise. FSSAI has come in, but I think that what still standards are not there. So we took him also in, and during the stakeholders meeting, a lot of ideas came. So presently I understand that there is a standard in the FSSAI for pot still, but there should be also for Feni, because Feni is now at the moment a country liquor, and in other states it is not accepted. So it is like one of those states where there is no further number. So what we have to do is now see that once Goa has recognized for themselves as a Feni as a heritage spirit, but at the same time, all over India as well as internationally, people should recognize this standard, because I will tell you the potential of Feni, we are much ahead of your tequila and your mezcal or whatever it is. But the only thing is that we are not recognized for ourselves and given the support. For myself, I understand that as an excise department, what we used to do is only taxing the liquor and enforcement. But development of training and all never taken. But then government has played a very active role, and the very fact that it has declared training as the greatest achievement. And even now, as a tourism director, we see that wherever we go, training has its own standard. And I'm sure that with the support from all the others and your stakeholders, definitely there will be standards set in for training, and it will rise to its heights and get its place wherever it has to be. Thank you. These few words, and thank you for patiently hearing me. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. One of the legacies that he left behind is he's left a legacy in the excise department. So today when we actually go to the excise department with grievances or suggestions, they're very open to it. Even the new excise commissioner is not a good, but the legacy that Samirin has left is the thought process and the dialogue has opened. The next person we have is very interesting. He's Uttam Batari. He's a teacher in the Department of History, Guwahati University, and assistant professor. And he's a managing trustee of the Youth Association for Development and Empowerment, in short YADEM, which was instrumental in initiating the Junima Festival and a campaign for commercial production of Junima as a cooperative movement for social empowerment. I kind of understand really where he's coming from, and it's very interesting to have someone who's thinking on the same lines with us today. He has also come in with Dr. Uttam Thaushan, who will be, you can interact with him later. They're both coming together, but Uttam will speak now.
Good evening. And Juthai. So you must be wondering what Juthai is. I'll just explain a little bit so that you can translate it to your own understanding. If we think that language is cognitive expression of culture, then I think Juthai is one of it. Ju in our language, my language, which is the Dimasa language, Ju is alcohol or any alcoholic beverage. Thai is something, it can be fruit, or it can be packaged into something, or a pack of something, or a unit. So you are giving alcohol in a pack, that is a kind of respect to somebody. So Juthai means actually it can be thank you, it can be showing respect, it can be namaskar or anything. So this is the culture where I come from, where alcohol is so embedded into every aspect of our social life. There is not even a ritual in our community that is complete without the use of Judima. Now, why we call it Judima? Ju is for any alcoholic beverage. When we call Judima, Dima is for Dimasa. It stands for my community, our community called Dimasa. We have a very strong sense of belongingness, that's something that belongs to us. We are aware that there are other communities around there who also uses alcohol, but we use this particular kind of alcohol for in our society, and it is exclusively used by our people. That's why it is Judima. So it's something like a couple of years back I read a book called I Drink Therefore I Am. It's something like we drink this Jew. This Jew is drank by Dimasa people. That's why it is Judima. It is a drink of the Dimasa people, something like that. So we have, as a token of respect to the organizers here and everyone present here, we brought a little bit of Judima back from Assam. Why we could not bring much, that part we will talk about it later. But as Desmond said, after 7:30 it will be available there. You can just take a sip of it and just see for yourself how it is. I won't say it is good or it is bad, because it is something that we grew up and we never thought that it is very unique. I personally, I never thought it was very unique, but until a friend of mine who was kind of introducing to a friend of him who came from University of Zurich, and he said that he's my friend Uttam. He belongs to a community who makes one of the best rice wine in the world, and it is so good. It is so good that only someone with pure heart can prepare something like that. And I was thinking, why do you say like that? Then I started thinking, yeah, it could be. Then I gradually got into it, and then I have found that it is really a bit different. Like I said, my friend Sarvajit and myself, we came from northeastern India. Aniruddha has already said that there are about 300 ethnic groups in northeast India, and most of these communities have their own kind of brews. Mostly these are rice-based. There are some communities in Arunachal Pradesh, upper reaches of Arunachal Pradesh, they use barley, but mostly it is rice, which is used for brewing in northeast India. And why I said Udima is very different for two reasons. One is the herb that is used in the starter cake. We have another traditional brew in Assam called Haas, which belongs to the ethnic Ahom community. In Ahom community, for making the starter cake, they use 102 different varieties of herbs. But in case of Udima, we use only one variety of herb. It is actually a dried skin of a tree called hemra. We call it hemra. Scientific name is Acacia pennata. I think in English it is called climbing wattle or something. So we use that bark. That is one uniqueness of Udima, because there are many communities whose neighboring communities of the masses, they didn't know how to use hemra, in spite of being that it is abundantly there in the forest. But they don't know how to use it. That is number one. Number two is the rice. We have three varieties of rice, but we use three varieties of rice in preparing Udima. It's not that all the varieties are compulsory, but we believe that using these proportional varieties of three types of rice makes the best kind of Udima. And one of these three varieties, it is cultivated exclusively for brewing. Only for brewing, not for other consumption. So probably Himasa is the only community in the world who cultivates one particular variety of rice exclusively for brewing purpose. So these two things actually are, in my opinion, these two things that makes Udima very different from other traditional brews in Northeast India. Now the question is, in spite of this, this vibrant wine culture in Northeast India, these traditional brews it never received proper kind of attention from the administration or from the government for commercialization. Now there was no bar in Excise Act, there is no bar in production and consumption at social level. You can also transport from one district to another district, but you can never commercially sell it. It is because of this reason. What we did, we from my trust, which is called Youth Association for Development and Empowerment, we started a Udima festival, and let me accept that Fanny has been a great inspiration for us in that case. We kind of came out with an idea of Udima festival to put our district, which is Dima Hasao district. It's a hill district in Assam. Assam has two hills districts, Karbi Anglong and North Kachar Hills. That North Kachar is now Dima Hasao. So it is one of the hill district in Assam, and Haflong is the headquarter, which is a hill station in Assam, only hill station in Assam. It's a beautiful, sleepy town, unlike other towns in Northeast India like Kohima, Mizoram, or Itanagar. It has not been touched by this growing rate of urbanization, so you can still do cycling and walk around without being much disturbed by traffic and all that. And Mr. Aniruddha has been there. I'm sure he can tell you about it. And also there is a big lake. It's a man-made lake, quite huge lake. I don't know the exact area I don't remember the exact area of the lake, but it is beautifully located on a hilltop, which is something about 5,000 square feet above sea level, and it is green. It's very beautiful. It's good for both winter winter tourism and also for summer tourism because it rains a lot. Since it's an extension of Ceylon Plateau, it is called Boreal Range, so it gets a lot of wind from Bengal, Bay of Bengal, and it rains a lot out there. And difference from what makes Haflong different from Shillong or maybe Cherrapunji, which is the wettest place in the world. This year it was not, of course. In Cherrapunji, what happens is that it could be foggy for a week. It could be all fog for a week. You can't see anything. But in Haflong, it rains for 2 or 3 hours continuously. Then it stops for 1 hour. Again it rains. Again it stops. So you can really have a feel of the monsoon there. So it is very good for both winter and summer tourism. So we thought that why not organize a Judima festival to draw tourists to our place and to have a look at what we have. One thing I would like to explain when we talk about empowerment in our trust, we believe that by empowerment we mean that to build the social capital, what we have in our culture, to build on that. We do not expect to have a skyscraper in Haflong or anything like that. We just want to showcase what we have as a community, what we have, whatever we have. That is what our motto is. So we felt that since Judima is very unique among all the communities in the Northeast and even in the Mahasau, so why not we promote it as a brand and organize a festival and put Haflong in this Somalian circuit like Goa is as a known place. And we are very thankful that organizers have taken care of inviting us here today and present our view here. I have a small documentary, which is of course not a very professionally made like Desmond's documentary. It's 7 minutes long. This is going to be the 4th edition of Judima Festival this December, and in the meantime we are also working on applying for GI. The process is almost done. Again, I should say that Fedi is the inspiration for us. If the process is almost over, by end of this month we should be able to submit the application. Thankfully, in 2016 January, when we started this festival, just a couple of months later, government of Assam also declared that they would like to promote certain traditional drinks of Assam as heritage drinks. And we don't know if it is because we organized the festival or not, but it definitely was a shot in the arm to us, and it's much easier for us now to commercially produce Judima, and we have already organized cooperative society, because we believe that since it's a traditional knowledge, it should not go to any particular individual. It should go back to the community. So we have managed to float cooperative society. The registration process is done, and probably within a month or two we should be able to submit our application for license. So this is a short story of Judima. Judima is not the only drink that has been recognized by government of Assam by Excise Act of 2018, which is basically an amendment of Excise Act of 2000. So there are other drinks like Haz, as I mentioned, it is a ethnic drink of the Ahoms. Then there is also Jo, which is a traditional brew of the Bodos. Then of course Apong, which Aniruddha has mentioned in his talk. It is the traditional drink of the Mishing community and also Adi community in Arunachal Pradesh. Mishing, basically Mishing, Adi, Galo, they belong to Tani group of people. And Mishing, they mostly inhabited the state of Assam. And Galo and Adi, Nishis, they live in Arunachal Pradesh. So it is a drink of this Tani group of people, Apong. So which this is also one of the heritage brew, and there are some people, some friend of mine, they're also trying to commercialize it. There are some other problems, like the commissioner has already spoken, that standardization and all that. This has been a very big problem for us, and we're working on that. Hopefully we will be able to come around with all these problems. With these words, I thank you all again. Please be with us at 7:30, 7:30. Maybe we can share a little bit of Judima with you. Thank you once again. That's one, please.
cursor down so that something is not even the cursor, bring the cursor down.
Yeah. Please come in front and sit. Sorry that the quality of the picture is not very good because the original format is not supported by the laptop, so we had to play the MP4 version. Otherwise, like this is how Tudima is prepared, and it's a fermented drink, wine. Its alcohol is around 18% when fully mature. It's not above that, 16 to 18%. In winter, it takes about 5 to 6 days for full fermentation, and in summer around 3 to 4 days. But then the taste keeps changing as it ages. So its shelf life is quite long. I have tried myself up to 8 years. It's still good. And some last year November I tried something which is 25 years old, but
taste is not very good. Not as good as what it is in 3-4 years old. So, and this is, as I said, this is a fermented product, and we can also, distill from the pulp that remains after fermentation, which is called Joharo. Aniruddha has mentioned already in his presentation. So this is in brief the Judima story and Joharo story from our place. And this is only one of the drinks or one of the rice wines that is being used across the northeast. It's a very, very vibrant place. It's a biodiversity hotspot. Even culturally, it is very, very vibrant. When we say we come from northeast, northeast is just a directional category. We come from east, doesn't specify anything. But in India, when we say we are from northeast, you are known that you are from that part of the country, and I think it receives that category because of also the very specific cultural milieu there. So as I said, it is very, very vibrant. They are using rice beer, rice wine across the society. Please come and join us and enjoy this drink along with our people. Thank you.
Thank you, Uttam. I went to the northeast for a friend's wedding. It's a lovely place. Food is interesting. People are very interesting. And it's a little known part of the country that we tend to forget. But yeah. The next person we have is Mr. Gurudhar Bhatta. He is the president of the All Goa Distillers and Bottlers of Cajapeni. He was also part of the team that was instrumental in forwarding and getting acquiring the GI status for Cajapeni. He's got various interests. I mean, he's like a serial entrepreneur as well. Most interestingly, he's the first person ever to have launched, in my knowledge, and probably I'm not wrong, but was the first person to have launched an RTD or something like what we could normally call a premix of Feni and in different offerings. So that's quite interesting. He's been pushing the boundary with kind of distillation, working with the ICAR and stuff. So he's a very interesting person to actually have right now. Yeah. Mr. Bhatta, please.
Thank you, Hansel. Mac was of Madame Rosa. Hansel was of New Spirits. Regan Hendricks of Reha Distillery. Haldankar, Tukaram. And myself, we all represent a product that can inspire, as Uttam said, can lighten up any crowd, can bring a smile by the mere mention of the word Feni. I am sorry, Nazareth, that I have to contradict you. Normally, alcohols don't contradict, they are blended and formed into various beautiful bouquet spirits. Because he wants Mahua to be called the national drink. And we have already claimed that Feni should be declared the national drink of India. Because, let me show you why and explain later why. Can we start this small video? Everybody has a presentation, so I think we must also present something. Goa, a beautiful coastal state of India, famous for football, fish and Feni. Where carnival takes place in February every year, attracting tourists from all over the world. Kaskar float depicts tradition through music and dance. GI application being signed in the Office of the Science and Technology. Cashew zone auctions be conducted by the officials of the Excise Department. Winning bidder happily moves to make the payment and obtain receipt of recording his right to distill during the season. A sacred gumti demarcates the village boundary of Kaskars in Nanora, North Goa. The cashew tree is medium-sized with leathery broad leaves, flowers emerging, developing pedicule into apples of various shapes and colors, pale green, reddish to yellow. Kaskar reveals the art and labor involved in the century-old eco-friendly process of distilling handcrafted penny. The harvesting of apples begins in the afternoon, both men and women, with cane baskets in tow, and armed with the carto, off goes these Kaskar into the groves on the hills. Only ripe cashew apples, which are fallen on the ground, are picked and placed in the basket, which is like poetry in action. Headload of apples being brought downhill to the coal bee. In the coal bee, the separation of the fruit and nut is done by hand, and almost the entire family is at work during the 3 months of the season. The apples are then weighed and recorded by the Kaskar representative and paid subsequently as per the rate notified by the excise department. Once recorded, the apples are loaded onto the vehicle, which then moves to the next point of collection, where the same process continues. Where the apples and juice are unloaded into the coal bee, which is made from natural unpolished granite stone. Care is taken to use only stainless steel implements. The extraction of juice from the apples begins with the loading of the hopper continuously. The pulp is then transferred to stainless steel basket press for extraction of the remaining sugars. And Nero, or the nectar of cashew apple, a popular drink among the locals. Extracted juice is then pumped into ceramic tile fermenters for natural anaerobic fermentation. Kaskars have adopted this fermentation technology, developed in collaboration with the Indian Council of Agricultural Research Institute, Goa, to meet the international standards for GI. Making of the corn or bati is laborious but eco-friendly by experienced artisans. A mixture of select mud, hay and water pounded by feet to the required consistency is first prepared. Laterite stones are set for placing copper part of copper kettle. The barn is applied with ash so as to help heat spread evenly and prevent the juice from getting burnt. The corn, bati, starts taking form. The plantain tree also goes in the making of the corn. accepting the requirement of heat. Clear roof tiles works as cladding and retains heat. The fully finished corn being given the final polishing touches. The thick neck or wooden support being prepared for placing the lavani, the clay pot receiver. The nulli or pipe is a hollow branch from the bouquet tree to which the vapor passes. The nulli is connected to the barn and lavani attached. Lighting of the wick lamp and a prayer to the omnipresent before commencement. Placing the wood and igniting the fire. Series of corns, distillation in process. Only casters use copper oil for condensation. Chini collected in jerry cans, which is then stored in tanks in the barn. The lavani clay pot being cooled with water for condensing the vapors. The most prized and rare Feni lavani. The various spices and herbs that go into the making of masala Feni. Sorting of spices and herbs in coconut oil. Stone grinding the sorted spices and herbs. The grounded spices and herbs, almost a kilo, being tied in a muslin cloth. Which goes into the heart. After pouring the required fermented juice, the stopper is placed. And sealed tight for distillation to commence. The final penny of the day being checked for strength. And flavor. Thank you. We go beyond this. Promoting my product. I am not here as me or I, but I am here as a team of all the Feni distillers for Goa. Now coming to the uniqueness of this product. You have seen how it is made. The fruit is not a real fruit. The fruit is the nut which you eat is the fruit. This is a pedicle. And it comes under the exotic category. So what you are calling Feni is something exotic. Now being exotic itself is a plus point. And then we have 2,000 distillers throughout Goa during the season. You have apples being produced throughout the world, of most of India also, Andhra Pradesh, Kerala, Karnataka. But Feni is produced only in the state of Goa because the Jesuits who came years back, 15th century, they were the ones who taught us the art of producing distilling Feni. And that has continued till today. There is no school that teaches you how to distill. It comes from father to son, son to the next generation, and we have derived this from generation. That is why the state of government of Goa felt that we should give it an elevated status from country liquor to a heritage liquor of Goa. Heritage spirit it is today called. And the product is such that it has medicinal values. I cannot technically show you or produce you statistics of it, but I have a lot of paper cuttings with us over the last 40-50 years, wherein it has been used in Goa for stomach ailments, for tooth ailments, and when you are sad and when you are happy, and all the times it has been used. And also, my friend, Benjamin, we call the housewarming or the stone laying foundation, wherein a bottle of Feni is used. And during the festival, during the rains, the Catholics especially, when they jump into the well to call Sanjao, the bottle of, it's not whiskey or brandy or any other, but it's the Feni bottle that goes into the well and you jump into it, drink. So we have a long heritage, a lineage, which is not required for any product to be called the national drink, which we have. We have exotic status, we have heritage status, we have uniqueness about it. And when you taste Feni in its natural form, without adding anything, you will be able to taste it now. There is warmth in you. There is everything. This is what I said. The word that Feni can create, no other product can create, not even the Scotch. For a Goan, if you keep a bottle of Scotch Black Label and a good Kaju Feni, I say good, he will go in for the good Kaju Feni.